Good afternoon, class. We are going to start our new topic, that is recruitment. Recruitment is the sub part of the chapter staffing in business studies class 12. As we get to know that management have five functions: planning, organizing, staffing, directing and controlling. And we were studying staffing function of management. Staffing function of management have three basic elements which we need to study in our syllabus: recruitment, selection and training. And in this lecture we'll study recruitment and everything about recruitment. What is recruitment? Basically, recruitment is the process in which what we do, we search the prospective employees and encourage them to apply for the jobs or stimulate them to apply for the job in the organization. As we have already discussed, recruitment is the positive process, right? Because we create the pool of human resources. Like, we are searching for the prospective employees and we stimulate the employees, we encourage the participants, we encourage the people, we encourage the employees, prospective employees, to apply for the jobs in the certain organization. It is a positive process, right? Recruitment is the positive process and selection is the negative process, we had already discussed, right? Now, recruitment aims to attract the potential employees with necessary qualification, because we have prerequisites of the employees we are seeking, right? The employees we are searching for, we have the prerequisites set for those employees we are searching. And recruitment aims to attract the potential employers with the necessary qualifications that we have fixed, right? So, recruitment is the positive process. The main topic we have to cover under recruitment are the sources of recruitment. What are the sources of recruitment and what do we understand by the sources of recruitment? Basically, recruitment involves identifying the various sources of human force and attracting and motivating them to apply for the jobs. So, there can be basically two sources of recruitment which we have to study, is external source and internal source, right? When we are filling the positions in the organization, right, through the external sources. External sources mean outside the organization, that is external source. And we when fill the existing staff, or we make use of the existing staff to fill up the vacancy in the organization, then it is the internal source, right? Like, we have to go in detail the sources of recruitment. There are two sources of recruitment basically. We had already discussed internal sources and external sources. When we talk about internal sources में वो employees को हम organization में recruit कर रहे हैं among those who are already working in our organization, right? Internal sources of recruitment में कौन से लोग हैं? वो लोग हैं who are already part of our organization, who are working in our organization, right? And external sources में someone who is outside from the organization, who is not part of our organization right now, but we are going to recruit the person who is outside our organization. So there are the various examples of the internal and external sources through which we are going to fill the vacancies of the organization. Under internal sources, there are transfer, promotion, and layoff. Under external sources, there are many more: direct recruitment, casual callers, media advertisement, employment exchanges, placement agencies, consultants, campus recruitment, recommendation, labor contractors, telecasting, web or internet recruitment. We'll discuss them one by one. The very first source of internal recruitment is the transfer, right? Transfer means what? Shifting the employee from one job to another, from one department to another department, right? But there is no substantive change in their responsibilities, because we are shifting the employee for the same post, right? एक ब्रांच बेंगलुरु में है, एक ब्रांच पुणे में है किसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का, कोई एक बंदा, कोई एक एम्प्लॉय यहाँ पे एज एन अकाउंटेंट काम कर रहा है और हमने उसको वहां पे भी एज अकाउंटेंट ही हमने उसको ट्रांसफर किया है. तो दिस इज द transfer, right? This is a source of internal recruitment because we are employing the employee in an organization who is already part of the organization, right? So this is the horizontal shifting because there is no slight change in the duties and responsibility. So if there are no changes in the duties and responsibility, there will be no change in salary, and it does not increase the number of employees in the organization. Then the second source of recruitment, internal source of recruitment, is the promotion. Promotion, as the name suggests, is refers to the shifting of employees from lower level to the higher level. And when the level of the employee goes increasing, then it increases their position, it increases their responsibilities, it increases their facilities, their status, their pay. Okay, for example, the vacant post of the general manager can be filled through promoting the branch manager, right, to the position of the general manager. So promotion is basically the vertical shifting from lower to higher. As you can see in the image, it is a motivation for the employees because once you get promoted you will be motivated, right? This will have a psychological impact over the employees because promotion at the higher level may lead a chain of promotions at the lower level in the organization, right? And third internal source of recruitment is the layoff. Layoff means the temporary separation. Please mind the word, mind the sentence. The temporary separation of employee from the employer. Mean we are not removing our employees on a permanent basis, but we are separating our employees from the job on a temporary basis. Why? Because of the shortage of raw material, because of the shortage of the work, and when the situation will get normal, the demand for the labor get increases, right? We'll hire them again, we'll call them again. Okay. And one more thing is that in this current scenario, in the COVID time, we can see that many organizations are using this source of recruitment. They are separating their employees for the time being because they have no demand, they have no production. So they are asking their employees uh, to go and sit at home as they have no work for the time being, right? Then they will again ask them to join the work when the situation get normal. So these were the internal sources of recruitment that we have to study under this point. Now, what are the merits and demerits? Before going further, we need to understand the important word, that is the critical analysis. When it is asked in the question that what is critical analysis, then we need to know that critical analysis means we have to tell the pros and cons. We have to tell the merits and demerits of particular thing. If we have to analyze, or if we have to evaluate a certain thing critically, what does it mean? It means we have to explain their merits and we have to explain their demerits as well. So we will critically evaluate this source of recruitment. First of all, the merits of the internal source of recruitment. The very first merit of the internal source of recruitment is that it motivates the employee. How it will motivate the employee? Because if a promotion takes place, then promotion at a higher level may lead a chain of promotion at the lower level. So definitely it will motivate the employees. It simplifies the process of recruitment and selection, right? Because the candidates are already the existing candidate of the organization. So definitely it is going to simplify the process of recruitment and selection. Then internal sources of recruitment are the economical sources. Economical sources means what? They are economical. It means they are not very costly because employee get training, employee induction training. There are no cost of training, right? So it is economical sources from that point of view, and it is good tool for training also because the employee who is already a part of organization, we don't need to expend do more expenses on their induction training, or on their orientation training. So it is a good tool for training also. It creates a sense of security in the employees because employee know that they're no one is going to retrench them, right? So it creates a sense of security to the employees. Then continuity of employees is there, and the better employee employer relationship is there. How better employee employer relationship is there? Because the employee And once the employee get promoted to the another level, then somehow he will think that there is the hand of the his senior to get him promoted, right? So it will enhance, it will strengthen the relationship between the employer and employee. Along with these merits, the internal sources of recruitment have certain demerits also. What are those demerits? The very first demerit of the internal source of recruitment is that it prevent the fresh talent, right? Because it reduces the scope of fresh talent in the organization. Because why it is happening? Because existing employees may continue to work, right? So there is the less scope for the fresh talent in the organization. Then the second demerit is employees become lethargic. Employees become lethargic means they will automatically get time bound promotion, so they think so they it is not needed to work hard like this. They will have mentality like this, and spirit of the competition may be hampered because there is no one is going to come in the organization and no one is going to give them the competition. So competitive spirit may be hampered in internal source of recruitment. Frequent transfers causes frustration among the employees. This is very obvious, and it is also going to reduce the productivity of the employee, right? Favoritism and partiality may prevail there, definitely, and loss of productivity we had already discussed. So we are done with the internal sources of recruitment. Basically, there were three sources of internal recruitment, right? And we had already covered the merits and demerits, or we can say that we had critically analyzed the internal sources of recruitment. Now, external sources of recruitment. Like internal sources of recruitment, we have many more external sources of recruitment. We have the various methods to recruit the employees outside the organization, right? External recruitment mean what? Searching for the employees from the sources outside the organization, right? So the very method, first source of recruitment to the outside source is the direct recruitment. Under this, what happened is that a notice is placed on the notice board of the organization, right? This in this method, what happened? A notice is put on the notice board outside the organization or where the selection is done, right? So this method is also known as recruitment at factory gate, or basically direct recruitment methods are used to fill the vacancies of the unskilled or semi-skilled laborers, right? And it does not involve the cost of advertising because we are creating the vacancies on the spot. So there is no need to advertise. The second source of recruitment is the casual callers. Basically, companies generally receive the unsolicited applications from the job seekers, right? So at various point of time, the company keep the database of such applications as they can provide the valuable source of recruitment. So when the vacancy arises, such casual callers can be considered for employment. So it is very economical source of recruitment for the organization, as there is no cost of advertising the vacancies because companies have already the database of the applicants and company call them as per their convenience. So it is the source in which there is no need of advertisement as well. Okay. Then the third source of external recruitment is the advertisement. Advertisement, media advertisement. It can be given in newspapers, it can be given in professional journals along with the full description about the job and the requirement, right? The advantage of this method is that more information about the organization and job can be given, and management gets a wider range of the candidates for selection. As you can see in the image that the organization is giving the vacancies for the post of the senior accountant and junior accountant, and they are giving the huge description about the organization and also about the job, right? So this is the method which may provide the flood of responses, right? But it may also happen that the responses are received by the organization from very unsuitable candidates also. Then the next source of recruitment is the employment exchanges. Employment exchanges are basically run by the government, and it is used to fill the skilled and unskilled operative jobs, right? Basically what we need to do is, okay, unemployment person get themselves registered with these exchanges, and these are the employment exchanges are in touch with the employers, right? So at the employer request, they provide a list of the candidate fulfilling the required qualification, because all the employees, all the applicants have registered themselves with the employment exchanges. So employment exchange, it basically it serves as a link, or we can say it serves as a mediator between the job seekers and employers, right? Then the next one is placement agencies and management consultants. Under this method, services of the placement agencies and management consultants are used. Basically, the placement agencies and the management consultant, this is the source of recruitment which is widely used these days by the MNCs. Multinational organizations are using this method to fulfill their vacant positions, right? And these agencies compile the biodata of the large number of candidates and recommend the suitable names to the employers on demand. They have a tie-up with the employer basically, right? So these are the professional recruiters, or they maintain the data bank of the person with different qualification and different skills, right? And this is the very right type of method to recruit the professional candidates, right? And management agencies also charge fees from their candidates. Then come to the next source of recruitment, that is campus recruitment. In this method, organizations conduct interview in campuses, in universities, in colleges, in institutions to search the prospective candidates. Right. This is a very common source of recruitment which is in use in current scenario, and it is very popular source of recruitment for technical, professional, and managerial jobs, right? For we can take example like companies visit the institutions like IITs, IIMs for campus recruitment, and this is very popular these days. Then the next source of recruitment is the recommendation. Under this source of recruitment, what happens? Existing employees are encouraged. The employee which is who is already the part of the organization, right, are encouraged to recommend the suitable person from their friends and relatives for employment. Such applicants are likely to be good employees because their background is sufficiently known. Recommendation, इसको हम हिंदी में सिफारिश बोलते हैं. In this method what happens is that जब आपका रिकमेंडेशन आता है तो प्रेलिमिनरी स्क्रीनिंग होती है उस एम्प्लॉय की, प्रेजेंट एम्प्लॉय की, राइट? उसके बाद उसका जो रिकमेंडेड कैंडिडेट होता है उसको जॉब दे दिया जाता है. बेसिकली इट सेव्स द टाइम, इट सेव्स द कॉस्ट ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, एंड दिस इज प्रेफरेबल in organization when the employee, the existing employee is very trustworthy or who is very capable enough, right? Then next source of recruitment is the labor contractors. Labor contractors are basically intermediaries, or they are known as the agent or the labor contractors, right? Intermediaries between the employers and the laborers, right? The contractors, labor contractors basically keep themselves in touch with the labor and can provide the required number of unskilled workforce at a very short notice, right? So when we are in a construction industry or we have to construct something, so in that case we are not going to hire the laborers, we are not going to hire the workers, but we are going to hire the labor contractors, because the labor contractors work as a mediator between the employer and the labors, right? So labor contractors these days, this is very common and this is very obvious, we can find out in our surrounding also. This is a source of recruitment. Then the next source of recruitment is the advertising on television. Recruitment through advertisement or vacant post over the television is also gaining importance these days, but in India this is now very much prevailed, right? Because it involves very high cost. If we are going to advertise our vacancies on television, so it involves the high cost. We will need an anchor, we will need a channel, we will have to start a program of our own, and so it appears for the short period only, and it cannot be repeated, so it is very costly, it is very time consuming. So this is not prevalent these days in India, right? Then the next source of advertisement is web publishing. That is very common these days, as everybody is using internet these days, so there are various websites for the job seekers, like naukri.com, shine.com, monster.com, timesjobs.com, quicker.com. Many more websites are there, right? So we can visit the website. Website can be visited by the job seekers, and job seekers can apply for the particular jobs through this websites, right? Now, what we'll critically analyze the external sources of recruitment. Merits, first of all, we'll cover the merits of the external sources of recruitment. The first merit is that with the help of external sources of recruitment, we will attract the organization, the management will attract qualified and trained people to apply for the jobs in the organization. Very true. Then we will have the wider choices. Company will have the wider choices, right? So it will also help the organization to find out the right candidate. Fresh talent can be invited. It facilitates fresh talent in the organization, and the competitive spirit will be there. External candidates are expected to be trained and talented, and internal candidates have to compete with them. So it induces the existing employees to work harder to show better performance. And when we are performing better, when we will have the competitive spirit. So this is the merit of the external sources of recruitment. Then there are certain demerits also of the external sources of recruitment. The very first demerit is that it creates dissatisfaction and frustration among the existing employee, because if we are recruiting from the outside, so it is very obvious that it will frustrate, it will make our existing employees frustrate, right? They may feel that their chances of promotion are reduced. So frustration among the existing employees is very common. It is very lengthy process, because external recruitment is a very time consuming. We have to publicize the vacancies, then wait for the responses of the candidates, then we have to select them. So it is very quite lengthy process, and as well as costly process, right? And uncertainty regarding the recruitment of employees from the external sources also there. We are not certain that we are going to get the best when we are externally recruit, right? So these were the limitations or demerits of the external sources of recruitment. Now we'll understand what is the difference between the external and internal sources of recruitment. As are we have enough studied the internal and external sources of recruitment. We have studied all the sources of the recruitment, right? Now we'll have a comparison of both of them. On the basis of meaning, if we'll compare that, internal sources of recruitment means searching the candidates within the organization, and in external sources of recruitment, searching the employees outside the organization. Then time required. When we talk about time, it is very obvious that internal sources of recruitment are going to take less time to recruit, and external sources are going to take more time. This is very obvious thing. When we talk about the cost, so internal sources of recruitment are very economical, very cheaper. But when we talk about external sources of recruitment, they are much costly, because they are very lengthy, very time taking, too much people are involved in the external sources, right? When we talk about motivation, internal sources staff feels motivated because they have been promoted, they have been transferred, and their chances of promotion is very high. But in case of external sources, as we had studied discussed earlier, that employee will get frustrated, employees will get dissatisfied, right? When we talk about talent or quality of the personnel hired, in internal sources, talent is we have a very limited choice of the candidate, so we have a very less talent in our organization. But when we talk about the external sources, then there will be infusion of the new blood, and we will have organization will have wider choices of the candidate. So we are done with the recruitment and various sources of recruitment along with their merit, demerit and comparison.